had the whole world at our feet, watching seasons change. Our roads were lined with adventure.
Hi there, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Cover Zero Roundtable with me, your host, Simon Conboy. With me today, we got a full house for the first time in a couple of weeks. We got Dan.
Hello there.
And we got Arnie.
Hey, guys.
So we'll start with the simplest bit of news, the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 52, we got the Eagles and the Patriots. Of course, we got the Patriots. Because as much as the NFL is unpredictable, the Patriots are predictable.
And while Blake Bortles still exists, it's still going to be the Patriots.
You say that. I thought Bortles... a bit of a spoil because we are going to go into this shortly. Because today's episode, we're just going to be going through some of the current news and our thoughts on the conference championship games. I thought Bortles played reasonably in that game. He's not the reason they lost.
He's not the reason they lost, but he is also the reason they lost.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I
can see what you mean there, but we'll talk about that shortly. I just want quickly our sort of first thoughts on the matchup. What was your immediate reaction to hearing that this was our Super Bowl this year?
Brady gets a
I think all of us are in the same sort of boat, aren't we? Of this probably is a
My
super.
specific thought on this is if only Carson Wentz was healthy, this would be the correct matchup.
Yeah, I almost feel sorry for Carson Wentz. It's probably the only Super Bowl in his career he's going to go to as a backup. Well, on injured reserve.
Oh yeah, the odds of him, man. If that happens to him again, he's a very unfortunate.
Imagine he now goes his whole. Imagine they win this game, right? And then he goes his whole career never making the Super Bowl.
It would be like Dan Marino making the Super Bowl in his rookie season and then just never getting there again. That would probably be the closest comparison you could have.
Apart from the fact that he's not even playing it, he's got no control over this game.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. But I don't know. I mean, we've seen in this playoff run that the Eagles might be here even if they'd had fault, simply because this defense is really good.
So basically, what you're telling me is Carson Wentz has been Drew Bledsoe.
No. I'm not saying he's been Bledsoe. I'm saying that it's a very, very talented team that may have got this far, even with mediocre quarterback play.
Yep. Shame the Vikings couldn't do the same.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. I mean, this matchup, not the most exciting because of the QB situation. I do think the Eagles are the better team, but the inexorable tide of Brady and Belichick rings will probably keep mounting. So, coaching news. Bit odd in that both of your teams have their new coaches. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah,
Cool.
He's the happier one.
Yeah. I mean, we got a guy. Well, I got the guy I wanted. I don't think the whole Tennessee fan base is completely...
You got your second choice. We all know you wanted Josh McDaniels.
I was dubious about Josh McDaniels. I just had assumed that would have been the case. I just thought I would have had no choice. No.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Nah, I wouldn't have wanted Patricia. I just think the guy that we needed in Tennessee is exactly the guy we got. We need a guy who not necessarily is going to push on a certain part of the offense or defense or something like that. We need a guy that's going to control the locker room. We need a guy that's a leader and that's going to get everything he can out of every individual player. And I believe that's the guy we have in Mike Vrabel. We love Mikes.
I think the one thing we learned most from this search, and I think it's one of the reasons Munchak was doomed, is it's pretty clear that your general manager, John Robinson, has decided he wants a guy from his Patriots days.
Yeah. He wanted a guy he was already familiar with.
Yeah. So he's got it. So what are you expecting from Vrabel next year? Would it be a case of if you don't make the playoffs again, this is going to be a major disappointment?
I just want, as long as I see improvement on both sides of the ball, then even if we don't make the playoffs, I'm kind of happy with where it goes. I mean, it's going to be quite a stretch for the Titans next year, I think, to make the playoffs anyway, given if this division is healthy. This is a rough division looking at.
It will certainly be more difficult. I think the Texans could potentially be a major hurdle next year.
With a healthy Texans team, obviously, if that Jacksonville team improves again, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that's going to be rough to deal with. Okay, yeah, we beat them twice anyway, and then obviously if the Colts get a healthy Andrew Luck back
with
in the Josh McDaniels scheme, this division looks mean. So I mean, it's going to be hard for us anyway. But I just want improvement, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, the first two jobs he did was get rid of the defensive coordinator in Dick LeBeau. And the thing that made, I think, every Titans fan happy is getting rid of the offensive coordinator, Terry Robisky, which, believe me, I was very happy with that.
Do you not think with Robisky it's the perfect summary of, 1 year you're the darling of the league and all the fans are like, yeah, exotic smash mouth, that was great. And then 1 year later, everyone's calling for his head.
Yeah. I mean,
they call it not for long.
I mean, I think everyone was a bit dubious with the whole exotic smash mouth offense and the hirings that Malarkey made anyway. I think everyone was kind of in wait and see mode with it. I mean, we got a taste of it in the first year and it worked, but because it's such an old school scheme, teams sniffed it out very, very quickly. I mean, you even saw it towards the end of that year anyway, that teams were catching on.
Yeah.
And obviously last year there was no production from the offense. The offense was the exact same as the year before, but just teams had figured us out and we were just stale. We need obviously a fresh movement. It's a new NFL. We need a fresh movement of plays called in Tennessee, and I think we're going to get that this year. I think there's no word on who we've got or who we're looking at, but the offense that Vrabel wants to run is essentially, as Dan said earlier, a West Coast sort of scheme. A lot of play actions, a lot of screen passes. If he even said there's going to be shots down the field a lot more often, because obviously we didn't really see that from Mariota this year. He's playing up to Mariota's strengths, basically.
Hopefully. My one concern is that Vrabel's quite a young coach, and he's going to be calling the plays. I believe
he's going to be calling defensive plays.
I've actually just seen something where, I don't know why people do this. People are going, "Oh, Vrabel's the defensive Sean McVay." Yeah,
I've seen that as well. If people are expecting it, it's not going to happen. I mean,
we've only seen him be a defensive coordinator for 1 year,
and he was very unlucky with injuries.
It was very hard to judge it because the Texans were just crippled. So yeah. I think that's a real stretch. A couple of years as a linebacker coach, he seemed to do quite well. Obviously, he's got the New England pedigree. It's just I'm always a bit concerned when you got. I just personally do not like having a coach that calls the plays on either side of the ball. And I currently have one of those in Dirk Cutter, and I've never been a fan of it personally. So I mean, it's a big job.
I think he said he's going to be very heavily sort of in the play calling of the game and stuff like that. Whether he's going to be full play calling come game time and come open season open out.
That would be my biggest concern. It doesn't matter what team it is or who the coach is. It's not something I'm particularly a fan of. The one exception being, if you're like Sean Payton or Mike McCarthy and you're with a quarterback that can essentially do that job on his own.
Yeah.
Just, you've got that relationship with him. I'm sure it's not as big a job. Yeah. Or like Peyton Manning, where it's probably the easiest thing in the world because you kind of just let him do his thing.
Who, by the way, is looking at taking John Gruden's ex-job on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I was just reading this.
I hope so. This must happen. It will be wonderful.
It would be wonderful.
Him and Romo can have like a weekly battle.
Although Arnie, I'm afraid you may actually have to watch the Pro Bowl this year.
Well, we have 8 players in the Pro Bowl.
No, not for that reason. For who's commentating, your boy Hasselbeck.
Is it?
Yeah, Hasselbeck is auditioning for that role, basically, that Gruden's had. If they can get Peyton, though, that would be a major coup.
Now have both. Have both. The bands will be real.
Well, it just means like next year we can do an episode each week where we compare who was better between Momo and Peyton, because I'm pretty sure Peyton would be very good at that job.
But you've got to remember with Hasselbeck, his press conferences I used to look forward to on a weekly basis.
Yeah,
because they were so snarky and just so awesome. That
we also know Peyton's a comedy genius, so
it's true. That's why they should just have both.
Yeah, I'm actually in support of this, because even though it's technically what we're doing, but sod the analysts, I'd rather have the players do it, like the good ones anyway.
Yeah, because you say that, and then I immediately thought Trent Dilfer, and I was thinking, no, get him off my TV.
I said.
Or Steve Young. In fact, most of the guys on ESPN.
I would say with Trent Dilfer, I said players, not guys who rode on tailcoats.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, well, that's enough evaluating of that move. But yeah, we want more QBs in the booth, please. Dan, what do you think of the Cardinals hiring of Steve Wilkes, former Panthers defensive coordinator?
It's actually, oddly enough, it's actually the one I didn't see coming. I thought would be stupid and pick like McDaniels or Munchak or what's his name, the old Lions head coach.
I think you did say last week that you wanted a defensive guy.
Yeah, I did, and this is probably, considering the job he's done in Carolina, is the best guy for the job. And he's brought over his linebackers coach as defensive coordinator. So at least on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to see some coordination and chemistry between both coaches.
Do you think, though, that we'll see a shift to a 4-3?
Possibly. That depends on what ends up happening with the personnel we've got this year. I mean, we haven't got the personnel.
Well, you'd be looking at. They'd have to kick in Kondichi inside. Yeah. You'd have to hope. We know Chandler Jones can play defensive end. He did it in New England. Marcus Golden.
The thing is, though,
I'm not sure.
The thing is, though, is Chandler Jones is good in the position he's already in, and I quite like him on the outside.
I think he could. He played very well at defensive end in New England.
I'll put it this way. I think depending how Zona drafts will probably tell us what the defensive scheme is, because we're going defence first round.
I still don't think that's the case, and part of that is it sounds like DeFilippo, the Eagles QB coach, is going to be your new OC.
However, I've actually got from the man himself him saying this isn't a rebuild, it's a retool. There's a question mark at quarterback. We've addressed the issue, and we're going to be extremely aggressive in free agency. So Kirk Cousins is coming to Zona.
Well, I still am one of the many who thinks Cousins is either staying in Washington or heading to Denver. But Zona could be tempting.
No, we've got deserts, and we have the best hands.
Kirk Cousins wants to be a Cleveland Brown.
No, Kirk Cousins said he would. Yeah, no, he said he would, which I'm just taking as he really loves the game, or he wants to wind down his career.
I don't know. I still think the Browns, if they have a really decent draft this year and they can find that QB, I don't think that team's necessarily that far away.
I'm sorry. How many? That's been said so many times about the Browns now. It means nothing.
Did you watch Deshaun Kaiser this year?
Yeah, again, how many times has it been said if they find a QB? How many QBs have they gone through?
Yeah, but how many highly thought of QBs have they brought in?
I was watching this channel on YouTube, and it was how far they simulated every year on Madden with the Browns, and it took them 13 seasons to make the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. So, according to that, we're 13 seasons away. No,
in all fairness, they did have Tim Couch, who ended his career by being broken in half.
Yeah, in the recent history, they've had Brady Quinn, Brady Quinn and Johnny Manziel were the two first rounders they've got.
They traded Brady Quinn to Denver.
Well, both of them were bust. They've not really invested that heavily in the position when you think about it.
Either way, this completely detracting from the point. No one cares about the Browns. They're shit. But no, if we go aggressive in free agency with Wilkes, I suspect he's going to want to work with the veteran QB regardless. So either Cousins. In a way, I kind of hope we don't go after Keenan.
But do you think that precludes you from taking a young QB? Not assuming you get Cousins, but if you get one of the other guys.
I would say yes, because he specifically said it's a retool. Now the thing is, though, is the defense needs more attention than the offense does. Bar the O-line.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
Defensively, I think this team needs experience. They need these youngsters to improve because they've invested heavily on that side of the ball. I mean, you've got Buda Baker,
but we don't have a D-line.
Son Reddick's a first rounder, and Ndici's a first rounder.
Oh, no, wait, hold on. Ndici's alright, and he played quite well. Buda Baker's a bust at the position. Good on special teams, whoop-de-doo.
I don't think you can say it. Considering the...
No, he is.
I think you've got to bear in mind... You have to bear in mind the scheme you run and what he was asked to do. He was asked this year to play nickel corner, to play free and strong safety, and to play some snaps at linebacker.
Oh, either way.
In a complicated scheme.
Which is going to hopefully get a bit simpler. But not too simple.
It will definitely be simpler.
I love my zone blitz.
The Panthers blitzed a lot last year, but it's not complicated blitzing. It's the, look, we've got 6 guys lined up on the line of scrimmage kind of blitzing.
Yeah, either way. I think the defensive line definitely needs work to get pressure, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do go with what's his name? The guy I've nicknamed VV.
Vita Vea.
Yeah.
If you stay in the 3-4, I agree. A nose tackle is a need. Corner is a need. But I can't see them addressing any other positions on the defence when the offence needs so much help. I mean, you guys could do a receiver. You could do with any position on the offensive line.
Failing that.
And you do potentially need a long-term QB.
Well, there's no first-round talent receivers that would fall to us or at all.
Calvin Ridley would be a reasonable at that point.
But no, this is the thing though. It's all great getting a receiver, but we don't have the line to defend whoever the quarterback is. I wouldn't be surprised if because we haven't got a high pick. We got kind of a mid-range pick. I wouldn't be surprised if we drafted one of the guards.
There's only really, considering where you're picking, you've got Quentin Nelson, who I just don't think will be available. Like, this is the guard equivalent of like Leonard Fournette last year coming out. A lot of people saying he's the best guard in the last decade or so. I just don't think he'll be available for you guys. There's a centre who's very highly thought of, but it's very rare you see a centre draft. Really. I mean, if you can remember when Travis Frederick, who was very highly thought of, was drafted by the Cowboys, and we were all laughing at the Cowboys along with everyone else. Turns out the Cowboys were totally right and nailed it.
Yeah, well, no, I mean,
either way, if I can see you guys doing it.
I don't see us going QB in the draft at all. We have more pressing needs.
We'll see. Do you think the DiFilippo hire makes a lot of sense?
As it confirmed, we hired him as OC. Oh, no, of course not. He's playing.
It won't be confirmed because they're in the Super Bowl, but it sounds like it's the case.
In that case, yes, but that might. I don't know. It depends because that then dictates what free agent we go after.
I still think it puts Josh Allen firmly on your guys' radar personally. But we'll see. We'll see what free agency brings.
Anyway, but yeah, that's about it. Good hire. I'm quite pleased with this. Got the coordinator and both coordinators that
I'm happy with this one. I'm glad he's out of my division, having had to watch that Panthers defense last year. Yep. So, good job, guys. He was a bit mean. So, I believe that was really about it in the terms of the coaching. I think, considering the Lions are the only team still looking for a coach, do you think this quickly confirms Matt Patricia's their guy?
No, this is all but confirmed. Lions.
It was basically all but confirmed. Like now they're the only team left, and you've heard nothing since. It's a done deal.
Yeah, no. At that end, the assistants have been fired. On basically,
Detroit.
yeah, by Patricia's word, they've been fired. So yeah, he's the coach.
Yeah. Interesting hire. It'll be very interesting. Look, some big changes in New England next year. It's been a long time since they had to make some changes. Like you guys were, when they won those first 3 Super Bowls, there was constant coaching turnover. These last few years, the first time I can remember under Belichick, they've had continuity at the coordinator spots. So it'll be interesting to see how that changes things next year. It'll be interesting for me anyway. So we'll get to the championship games from the weekend. We'll get the disappointing game out of the way. I think we did anyone see this coming other than maybe the most deluded and diehard Philly fan?
No, I didn't see it coming. It was a bit of a shock. I mean, I kind of thought when that first pick happened, I was like, okay, the momentum is heavily within
4 rushes here that giving you
in the Eagles. It's going to be so hard for them to get that momentum back, especially when they're away.
I just, because I didn't watch all of this game live. I had something I had to do early on Monday morning. So by the time when I went to bed, I had watched both teams' first drive. So I saw the Vikings have a nice march down the field where they made it look easy and scored a touchdown. And then I saw the Eagles go 3 and out off of a stupid attempt at a catch by a tight.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, well, Vikings looking good. Then I got back on Monday morning and watched the rest of it. I mean, 38-7.
Yeah.
That's a beatdown. I mean, the thing that's most shocking to me was just how when things started to go wrong for the Vikings, it just kept getting worse. And they do something good that might get them out of it, and then they mess it up. I mean, Nick Foles played the game of his life. He was absolutely fantastic in this one. And for me, one of the key differences in the game was just how both of these QBs fared under pressure, because I think both of these defensive lines played very well.
Yeah.
Foles was avoiding pressure, making good decisions. I mean, how the amount of Keenum's passes that were affected by him having to get rid of the ball early or just heaving it into the middle of nowhere.
Well, Chris Long today.
So, yeah, I mean, massively disappointing in that regard. And also, when Xavier Rhodes went down, this Viking secondary fell apart.
Yeah.
And it's very uncharacteristic of them, particularly that's beyond maybe the Jaguars. They've probably been the best secondary in the league all year, particularly the safety play. But yeah, it was really, really disappointing. Not really a lot of positive Vikings. I mean, Adam Thielen didn't really get too involved defensively. Did a good job against the run. Both of these teams good at the line of scrimmage. But so many blown coverages. I mean, did you see the stat? Foles was the first QB to ever have 3 40-yard touchdowns in a championship game.
Yeah.
Against this defense. And on third down, that was the other one. I don't do stats often. You guys know I'm not a big fan of them. Or was it they went like 9 of 11 on third down?
Incredible on third down.
And the Vikings this year were one of the best, like top 5 all-time third down defensive teams.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. They weren't able to contain Foles and these receivers. Zach Ertz, I thought, had a really good game. Didn't make any huge plays, but whenever Foles was on the run or really needed a big play, it seemed Ertz was open. They've got a big play out of Torrey Smith, Alshon Jeffrey. Everything was clicking. The run game was effective rather than dominating. As for the Vikings, I mean, beyond that first drive, the offense was just really poor. I mean, they couldn't run the ball at all. Keenum just made some horrific... I mean, that first pick was just... I mean, I know the ball was impacted, but I don't think it was a particularly good decision.
No. That game really reminded me of the Rams-Minnesota game from earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Where, the Rams went straight down the field on the first drive and then couldn't do anything after that. It really reminded me of that game.
Yeah, no, and that's not shocking to me because this Eagles defense is a superb unit, and their front seven, we've said they've been great all year. For my money, the best front seven in football, and these are the two best front sevens in football. I'd probably edge the Vikings ahead, but man, the Eagles in this one, I mean, Fletcher Cox has just been on fire these last couple of weeks. Yes. Brandon Graham as well. He doesn't ever get enough credit. And their rookie made a big play. Because I think it might be the most understated play of the game was towards the end of the second quarter when the Vikings were driving and Barnett forced the fumble in the red zone. I think, because it could have been 17-14 heading into halftime if not for that play, or 24-14 at the time. Vikings may be in it at that point, but no. Eagles got the ball back when it scored a field goal, and really at that point it never looked like becoming a game again. I mean, that whole second half just felt like a formality.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many chances in the game where the Vikings had a chance to come back, but the Eagles, that front seven was just so disruptive in that game.
Yeah, and whilst I don't think the Eagles' run game was dominating in this game, they were efficient and effective.
They ran the clock enough.
Yeah, and especially at the end of a game, Ajayi is just not the guy you want to be trying to tackle.
Yeah.
And with me and Dan were discussing this earlier, if Nick Foles plays like that in 2 weeks, I've got no doubt the Eagles will win that game because he really was on point. I mean, you probably won't see too many better performances. I mean, just full stop. He really was that good. Who knew he had that in him?
When he tied the touchdown single game record. You forget he was the guy.
No, he wasn't. Most people didn't think he was the guy even after that year in Philly.
Either way, all he's doing is
there's a reason like that happened, and then they gave up on him. Really
either way, if he plays when he plays in the Super Bowl, even if he loses, but he plays competently and fairly well, trade value goes up.
It'll go up, but I still don't think there's. I think Philly would probably keep him about, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything else anyone wants to sort of throw out about that one?
Vikings entire D played flat-footed the entire game.
I don't feel they did.
I do. It was
I think the Rhodes injury killed them.
I think
the front seven did their job.
Oh,
do.
No, the team was just flat. The entire team was flat that entire game.
I don't agree with that. I think secondary just fell apart. I mean, the second half absolutely, but the game looked over. So on to the certainly the better of the two games. I really enjoyed this game, with New England taking they were down 10 points at the start of the fourth.
Yeah.
Brady with 2 touchdowns to Danny Amendola to come back and win 24-20 against the Jags, who put forward a really good effort in this one. And, frankly, I think they had this game in hand. My first thoughts when this game ended were the Jags got too conservative.
My thoughts on this game, it was pretty much a near enough exact replica of the Tennessee New England game. Jags came out with the same game plan. So did New England. But the Jags were doing it better than Tennessee.
Well,
they still had the run going.
The thing that was most surprising to me, because when we were discussing this in the preview last week, I thought the Patriots would make more of an effort to run it in this game. And that really wasn't the case. It was all Brady all day. And in the first half, it just was not working for them at all. I mean, really up until that fourth quarter, they were not able to get anything going.
No.
The Jags were getting great pressure on him. I mean, Brady was getting hit on just about every other drop back. guys weren't getting open. Jalen Ramsey did a fantastic job on Gronk before he got knocked out of this game. And frankly, most of the yardage that the Pats were able to get came through penalties.
Yeah.
And it carried on like that in the third quarter. But for me, the Jags got too conservative in this one. And as a result, I think you saw the defense get tired because of the 3 and outs in the fourth quarter. The pass rush just wasn't there towards the end of the game at all. Brady was comfortable and was able to find that rhythm that he hadn't had for the rest of the game. And the offensive play calling was just, we'll run, and we'll think about passing. And we'll call a really conservative sort of, if your first read's not there, throw it away type pass. And, when you're playing the Patriots, especially in New England, in playoff time, I think you've got to have a bit more killer instinct as a coaching staff. And it's not like Blake Bortles was playing badly in this game. I thought he was playing okay. Missed a couple of reads here and there, but it's not like it's not like it when he was playing against Buffalo.
No, he played well, but he was doing well for them, but he also still lost them the game as well. Like when you've got to put the drive on Blake Bortles and put everything on him to win that game.
I can agree with that, but I don't think he should have been in that position. I think the offensive coaching really let them down, where they were in a position where they could have sorted this game away. What they've been doing all game long, and this is why the offense was looking quite good in this one, is because Pats went into this doing exactly what you'd expect and what you should do when you play the Jags, is decide you're not going to let Leonard Fournette beat you.
If you look at this game as well, like a big part of why the Jags had the lead that they had is because they were winning the field position battle.
Yeah, they were, because they were getting pressure on Brady. The Pats weren't able to get drives, and Bortles was having a very efficient game.
Yeah, I mean, you were only requiring Bortles and that offense to go 40, 50 yards down the field.
Yeah, but they were letting him throw the ball.
Brady going 90 yards down.
Yeah, but they were letting him throw the ball. Toward the end of the game, they just didn't.
Ron was getting stuffed.
It's just a real shame. It really does feel like the game was in their hands. I'm assuming you've both seen the complaints about the refereeing. Do you think they're warranted?
No.
No, of course it's not. This is the thing. I
heard that out of pass interference.
Yeah, but this is the thing, and I've been hearing about this about the Patriots all bloody year as well, and Colin Cowherd addresses it as well in his show. Is when a team is this dominant for so long, the only thing people can ever say, because jealousy, whatever else, is, oh, they must be cheating somehow, or they paid off someone somehow. I mean, come on, we are talking about a team that got penalised by suspending their starting QB last year. I don't think the NFL is doing them any favours.
There was only one call in the game that I think was a big call that I did have particular issue with. It was the one toward the end of the first half, the Bouye down the sideline with Brandon Cooks.
He shot the down, though. That's pass interference.
There are two aspects for me that I don't think that that should have been called.
What about
Cooks was all over Bouye just as much as Bouye was all over him.
Yeah, but
Cooks was out of bounds, so he's not able to come in and catch that ball without it being a penalty, and I don't think the ball was catchable.
Hold on, but there's also not forget that.
The out of bounds thing, you can say that was because of the interference by.
They were both. It was primarily above all those other points for me. They were both interfering with each other. It was just one of those plays where I don't think you can call that against one player.
Hold on.
When you watch it in pure real time, it looks like Boye's dressed all over him. Whereas when you did actually slow it down and have the camera full angle on it, then you can kind of argue that case. But you got to remember in the rest.
No, but I agree with what you're saying there. But to me, it's what you've got. Like if you're the line judge, you've not got the angle they're showing there. Is the line judge, you see it like directly down the line, and you would have seen that hand fighting that was going on. So to me, and I don't even think it was a catchable ball.
The thing is that we could do this all day about who should have called what when. Because
Oh no, it's just that one particular penalty.
No, because there was also a fairly massive no call during the game, which was confirmed by the league after the fact. That hit on Gronkowski was an illegal hit.
They flagged that. Yeah, they did flag that.
I thought it was a no call.
No,
they flagged that.
Oh,
of course they flagged that.
I thought they flagged something else on that play.
Yeah, no, they flagged that. It was the easiest call they've had all day.
Either way.
Yeah, that one call is. Other than that, that like every game, there were some holds on the offensive line here and there that weren't called both ways because it's the NFL and that's how it works.
Me and Arnie have discussed this before. The thing is, you can't go against the Patriots and then go, oh, we lost because of flags. No, you lost because you got outcoached, outplayed, and they are way more disciplined than you.
I would not say the Jags got outplayed in this game.
Brady came from behind against the so-called best pass defense in the league. That's outplayed.
It's not outplayed. He was outplayed for 3/4 of the game, and then the Jags just decided that they didn't want to play offense properly.
And the defense.
Is how I will remember this game.
And the defense allowed them to put up unanswered points.
Offense has to help you out. I mean, you guys get tired. That's why that last rush fell off.
They completely changed both the offensive and defensive scheme in the second half. They got outplayed.
The problem
they didn't. The Pats didn't change what they were doing offensive at all. In the slightest. There was the only adjustment they made was to their protection. And the difference maker there wasn't so much schematic as the Jags being tired.
The problem the Jags had in that game is the offense going into kind of third, fourth quarter wasn't on the field long enough. And then Brady got a chance to get into that no huddle. As soon as Brady went into that no huddle, defense got gassed.
Brady went into the no huddle in the first half. It wasn't working. It was just this defense. When you have, and this happens in so many games, when you see a team go 3 and out that many times in a row, that's when you see defensive play. And I don't care how good your defense is. It can be the 2000 Ravens. Like, if you have 3 and outs in a row, your defense starts to get tired.
Yeah.
Just end of story. I don't care who the opposing QB is. You shouldn't. That's the thing, to have that kind of comeback in the fourth quarter that the Patriots had. The other team has to enable that somewhat, because you might not get more than 2 drives in the fourth quarter. Patriots were given plenty of time and plenty of drives because the Jags, they got 2 consecutive. It's not to say if they hadn't gone conservative, Patriots don't still make that comeback. There's every chance Blake Bortles does a Blake Bortles and does something.
Seems to have cut out.
It does.
Yeah, see, this the problem is he's talking to the camera and there's no volume. Either way. So, yeah, your mic's cut off over there. But either way, I think one of the big points here is to beat New England, you need to be disciplined. You can't afford flags because you're given.
Is the mic back?
And yes, you are.
Yeah, it's to me, if you're going to beat New England, you've got to. I don't like. There weren't that many penalties in the game, even on the Jags. It's just the ones that they did have, because I think they're like 3 of them were big pass interference calls down the field. That's probably why it's a bit more of a story.
Actually,
it's a story because the Jags are making it a story.
No. I know what this story is now. I actually already had this argument on the Twatters. It's not the Jags making the story. If this is the AJ Bouye thing, he actually said basically along the lines of, I don't understand why this got called and that got called, but in order to win, we should have played more discipline. The guy writing the article twisted it completely the other way.
Oh no, yeah, I read the same thing. I stuff doesn't get called. It does get called. Whatever. I don't think the refs had a huge impact on this one. as I say, there's the one call I don't agree with, but it is what it is. I just think if you're going to beat the Patriots, and this is where the experience thing comes in. Patriots have been here, done that before. The Jags, I think if it's the regular season, I don't think you go into that kind of shell at the end of a game. I think you try and finish the game.
Yeah, to beat the Patriots, you have to play 4 quarters of football.
Yeah, but come on. I mean, you're trying to put in the dagger here, and the guy wielding the dagger is Blake Bortles. I mean, come on.
But the thing, Bortles was playing fine in the game.
Yeah, but
within the context of that one game, he was playing fine. The Patriots' game plan is to stop Fournette, particularly when they're down by 10 points. Entering the fourth quarter, then it's definitely to stop Leonard Fournette. So let him throw the ball. They've got some weapons there. Bortles was having an okay game. I would have liked to have seen a bit more aggression. If Bortles throws the pick, he throws the pick.
Well, I mean, but the thing is though, but this goes back on to the penalties thing. I mean, the teams that have had success against the Patriots have always played clean, disciplined games. I mean, it's just the rules. It's the way you've got to beat them. Although one other thing I want to add on the penalty side, can we go back to the old system, please? Because I was watching an interview with Terry Bradshaw earlier today. Can we have PI going back to 15 yards, please? Not spot the foul.
No, absolutely not.
No, spot the foul means people are actually looking for it. I mean, come on, quarterbacks are throwing it deep down the field on the off chance that either he catches it,
yeah,
it goes
but the reason
or he gets
it
a
was
PA.
because you'd have defenders intentionally just be like, well, we're past 15 yards, the guy's got a shot at it, I'll just tackle him.
It's a difficult thing to say because it favours the offense a bit too much in that situation.
I think it did, but it goes to favouring the defence too much. If I've got my guy like beating your guy down the field, he's got a good step on him, and your guy just makes a dive-in tackle on and it's a 15-yard penalty, like that's...
Do you know what would solve this? Make it so you can press all the way down the field again. It would be fun.
Some of it's press. A lot of these flags aren't even what you'd consider press.
Just let them beat up on each other.
I don't think the PI one is annoying because you do get offensive players, of course, manipulating it. But that's just sports. You have rules. Players are going to try and manipulate them.
Either way.
What's the rules?
Yeah, but this was a good game, and the Patriots just did what the Patriots do: make the adjustments when they count. Come for in the clutch. That's the thing. Like Danny Amendola was not involved in this game at all up until that part of the game. I didn't notice him at all. The Jags, though, they deserve all the credit in the world for their plan with Gronk. Now, of course, Gronk didn't play this whole game, but by the time he was eliminated, what were we like towards the end of the first half, and he'd had one catch.
Yeah,
that's an impressive job right there.
Brady was just completely ignoring Ramsey in that game, unless Ramsey.
Yeah, he was. He was, and I do agree with what Romo said. Bouye was just giving Brandon Cooks way too much respect.
Yeah, he was just giving him way too much time.
Too much. But I think that might be one where, because Bouye is a very physical. Both Ramsey and him are much like the Seahawks corners. They like to play a lot of press. And when he had that PI happen, I'm wondering if that maybe impacted the way he was trying to play the rest of the game.
Possibly.
But yeah, this was a good game. Gwynch, just to finish up, you've had very little respect for the Jags. We discussed this earlier. Did you really not have any more respect for them?
No.
I've got respect for them. I just don't like them.
Yeah, I don't particularly.
I wanted the Pats to win this game because I didn't want the Jags going to the Super Bowl.
It's a divisional rival. I expect that to be the case.
Yeah, I don't like the Jags.
It went down exactly how I said it would go down.
No, it didn't. You said they were going to batter them.
No, I didn't. I never said they'd blow them out. That's a stupid thing
You
to
said
say.
that Brady would come out and they'd get a quick lead, and then Bortles would make a mistake and it would just be a comfortable rock.
Yeah, so basically what
which is
Hey, you've got to give respect to Bortles in the fact that they had no turnovers in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
well, I'm not giving him any respect for that Bills game. It was awful. But the last two games, yeah, solid performances. Not
either
what
way.
you'd hope for, but
I still don't think that team's all that. But this game went exactly the way I expected it to go.
if they improve at QB, whether that's through Bortles improving this offseason or getting someone else, this team's probably not going anywhere. That is a very young defense. Very young. But yeah, there you have it. Anything else anyone wants to discuss before we?
No.
Cool. Well, we've got a couple of weeks till the Super Bowl. So do you think? I'm thinking maybe some season review type stuff, awards predictions, general thoughts on the season. Maybe do an episode like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Can do. It'll be more entertaining than the sodding Pro Bowl.
We're not talking. We're all in agreement on the Pro Bowl. I might watch the skills show because that was surprisingly entertaining last year. Though. I don't know why. I for some reason I really enjoyed watching the dodgeball.
Let's face it, we all know that Pro Bowl is on the exact same time as
the Royal Rumble. Yeah.
So they always get the majority of the views there.
I'll be watching the Rumble. That's for sure. Cool. Well, there you have it, guys. Tune in for the next episode. It'll be Tuesday or Wednesday next week, I'd have to suspect. Go over some of our thoughts on the season and I guess some of the off-season storylines. We can finally start getting some of that stuff. So tune in. Should be good stuff. As always, let us know what you think. If you like, share, subscribe, check out the Patreon. That'd be grand. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for your time. Have a great evening and go Bucks.